Good evening to everybody, thank you all for coming. It is a pleasure to be here, and I hope you will learn a lot of new things today that are well backed up by the latest scientific experiments. In order to make the most of this presentation, I would like to ask you to be both open-minded and skeptical, which is the only way we can build our own understanding. Before I start, I would like to thank 2K Club for inviting me here and allowing me to share this information with you, because it is this sharing of knowledge with others that inspires, fulfills and allows me to learn much more myself. I have finished a computing degree at the University of Plymouth with the Best Student Award. Now I'm doing PhD research in artificial intelligence on humanoid and Mars robots. In parallel, I also do research in nature of consciousness and its connection with the energy we perceive as matter. The research I do for my PhD is for an international project iTalk, and we are its coordinators. Many countries from all over the world are involved, such as Japan, USA, Italy, Denmark and Germany, and we work together to research how it could be possible to develop autonomous systems capable of learning actions and especially language. We use biologically inspired systems, for example latest neural network models, to develop computer systems that can learn autonomously. To learn autonomously in a similar manner as children do. For this research we use the latest model of an iCap humanoid robot, that is one of the most advanced robots in the world. In January I went to Italy to learn to assemble the hardware and use the communication software. In March this robot arrived in Plymouth, and we are using it for our experiments in action and language learning. During the second year I got very interested in astronomy, and in particular in astrophotography. As a result of this, I studied astronomy for 1 year at the University of Manchester, while studying computing in Plymouth at the same time. Later on, I started a project on artificial intelligence that I applied to a Mars rover that you can see here on the very bottom. This led later on to a collaboration with the European Space Agency. First of all, I would like to thank the world-leading biologist Bruce Lipton, who is the author of this book, The Biology of Belief. Bruce has been recently awarded a prize for his lifetime contribution to the science of new biology. And all the people I'm going to mention here were crucial to my research of consciousness and the nature of reality. All these people inspired me a lot through their work, and mostly the courage they have, which is that they are not afraid of going against old beliefs that are so deeply rooted in orthodox science. Scientists who integrate the latest knowledge of, for example, quantum mechanics, physics and astrophysics in their research, and who have a holistic way of understanding this reality and are not just simply stuck in their own belief systems. I thank Thomas Campbell for his help during the times I was preparing this presentation. Tom has a strong scientific background. He worked as a nuclear physicist, and later he started to focus on researching consciousness. He wrote this great trilogy, My Big Toe, where the toe stands for the theory of everything, and he bridges objective and subjective experiences and systematically and logically derives the natural relationships between mind and matter, physics and metaphysics, love and fear, and demonstrates how time, space and consciousness are interconnected. He himself mastered the technique of out-of-body experience and ran long-term scientific experiments into this phenomenon, clearly showing that an out-of-body experience can be equally real as our daily experience and not a brain hallucination. I thank to Greg Braden, who is considered the world's leading authority on pointing out the relationships between mind and matter. His research, which is summed up in this book, The Divine Matrix, has inspired me tremendously. He has contributed to the marriage of science and spirituality, and when I say spirituality, I do not mean any religion, ideology or belief system. By spirituality, I mean a reality that is outside the current perception of most people. However, as we will see today, this perception is not impossible to alter, and this can be done by mastering our minds and emotions. Big thanks goes to Mark Hingston, who has been my very good friend since we first enrolled on the same computing course. Mark helped me to ask more questions and encouraged me to do more research into various topics that served as pieces of a puzzle. I feel that we are entering a new paradigmic change in science, where the old way of looking at the reality is going to be completely wiped out to make space for the new one with ever-growing evidence of consciousness-matter interconnections. A paradigm where the subjective is fundamentally more real than the objective. More and more people and scientists are starting to feel this change and are starting to wake up and ask more questions. And it is particularly apparent that more scientists are starting to realize this and are integrating the latest discoveries and knowledge into their research. I admire these people because it is them who are not afraid to publicly talk about their research and who often have to use words triggering so much insanity in many of their colleagues, such as metaphysics, consciousness, spirituality or anything non-physical. And at the same time, I see this to be the greatest blunder of mainstream science, as it is absolutely clear and provable that our physical existence is the tiniest fractions of mass contained within the universe. Our physical world, with all the energies we are able to measure, accounts only for 4% of all there is, according to the latest calculations from astrophysics. So with these tiniest fractions of 4% understanding, we are trying to define this world as the only reality apparently made of solid matter, which is not solid at all, as I'm going to show you today. Before I start showing you the experimental evidence, let's have a look at a brief overview of the scientific progress over the last several hundred years. First we thought the Earth was flat. Then it wasn't. Many years later, Newtonian physics completely changed our view of reality, when Newton discovered gravity and consequently defined the laws of physics that help us unify what was happening on Earth as well as the heavens, such as the movements of the planetary bodies. This was an undoubtedly huge contribution for us, meaning that we could finally calculate and predict what would happen if we did this or that. For example, to calculate the trajectories of satellites and spacecrafts to distant planets. Newton described the world as a kind of mechanical clock. However, this perception of reality was buried a long time ago with the arrival of the theory of relativity, quantum mechanics and others. It is an unfortunate fact that most people, and especially scientists, see the world through Newtonian glasses. James Clerk Maxwell, who merged the forces of electricity and magnetism into a single force, today known as electromagnetism, defined the field theory. This brought a change to our perception of reality again, as the events in the world were no longer disconnected from each other. And this time, one event has an effect on the other, and therefore these events are somehow interconnected via energy fields that fill the entire space. Quantum theory is the most successful scientific theory in the history of science that has forever changed our view of reality. It has been subjected to the most rigorous testing and outrageous domains. For example, in the 1930s, Einstein, being puzzled by the quantum theory, proposed an experiment that temporarily disproved the theory, as it implied that if the quantum theory is right, then all the particles must be entangled and somehow interconnected. Einstein said that one particle in this galaxy should be able to affect another particle in another galaxy instantaneously,